Okay, thank you very much. Frank, take it away.
All right. Yes, everyone. My name is Frank Corrao. This is Nurturing Leads and Surviving Long Sales Cycles. If you guys have any questions during the conversation, just throw it in the chat. At the end, I'll start to read the questions. And then if we want to raise our hands and kind of have dialogue back and forth, we definitely can. All right. Without further ado here. All right. So let's recap a little bit. I don't know if you've been in any of my previous presentations or been to other lectures, or if you are at any level of understanding in the digital marketing world. Okay. Now, in the beginning, of course, years ago, 20 plus years ago now, we used to get our information a lot differently than digital media. We used to get our information through magazine, newsstand, billboard. You got a direct mail piece in the mail, right? Remember how many of those you used to get? The Clipper magazine, if you were a small business, you used to get the front or back cover of the Clipper magazine for $1,000 or $2,000. You get a circulation out to 20,000 people. You put a coupon in there, and that's how you get them to your local business. Nowadays, things are very different. Not only that, things are very different in a more grand fashion. So with the advent of digital technology, not only do we have the ability to forecast ROI, show return on investment, understand exactly where our leads are coming from. Now, remember before with the Clipper magazine, as an example, they would say we have a 50,000 piece circulation, but 20,000 of those would sit in the corner collecting dust in the barbershop, right? Nowadays, we know exactly where everything is coming through tracking. Okay. Additionally, we get seen everywhere. So I was looking for a lawnmower. That lawnmower followed me around everywhere I went throughout the internet, whether I was on social media, it's on the NewYorkTimes.com. I was looking up something, I was paying a bill. It's just going to keep showing up. It's in my inbox. That's no mistake. And we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of that. However, again, just recognize things are vastly different from a advertising landscape. So some of the vernacular that I'm about to say, I'm going to go through. But if I say anything that's not understood at the end of the conversation, I'll gladly outline it for you. All right. So what are channels? Think of channels like platforms in the previous marketing world, right? So platforms would be direct mail, TV, radio, billboard, walk-in, banner. Nowadays, they're as follows. Direct. These are users who are visiting via www.com. So I'm going to www.activewebgroup.com to get all of my, to get to the site. Am I necessarily a user that I've marketed it to? Maybe not. If I did a trade show recently or I shook a bunch of hands and handed out some business cards, that might have raised my direct traffic. So again, you could start to build correlations here, which we'll get further into. Organic, that's our SEO or our search. My favorite, a lot of people's favorites, big buzzword. So this is consumers searching for various keywords or key phrases to get to where they want to go. Searching for digital marketing Long Island, etc. You found me, you clicked on my site, there you came. A lot of times, if we're talking about brand terms, those are important as well, such as the term active web group, right? That's an important term, but I don't necessarily equate that to SEO efforts. You should inherently rank 1 or 2 for your brand. I do find a lot of rookie or startups, people just building websites, they're not ranked for anything for various reasons. And a lot of times they'll need what's called an SEO setup. Maybe their site's set to no follow. Google's not crawling their site for a certain reason or doesn't like their website. So because of that, a lot of times it has to be set up. Then you have paid search. Paid search is just paying to play. It's all this. You could pay in social media as well, but you pay generally to Google or MSN Bing, right? A lot of times it might be B2Bs if you're business to business. You're a business looking to attract other businesses. Let's say you're a consultant, an IT consultant. Bing might make better sense for you than Google. So reason being is 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. You have the decision maker sitting at a Windows computer. The default browser is probably Bing. So because of that, you might get a cheaper CPC, cost per click, and you might find less competition there. So there are a lot of different avenues or pathways we could go to get a conversion at various price points. Social media, of course, is paid play, but we know what social media is. We have Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. I always say with social media, this isn't a social media conversation, but I always say less is more. do something 100%. Don't do 10 different platforms 10%. So I'm going to have X, Twitter, I'm going to have LinkedIn, Facebook, all this. I'm going to do TikTok and start dancing. Does that make sense? Are you B2B? Does it make sense to start dancing? Maybe it does, but maybe it doesn't. If you're going to do something, pick one avenue and do it great. Try to generate leads from that and be successful there. Don't try to do something, willy-nilly. Referral. So you got referral traffic in. This comes from other websites. Think of someone referring business to business, handshake to handshake. Very similar. So I have a link that's on a different website. Let's say the SBDC. They click through, they go to my website, and then they fill out a form and they what we call convert, or it becomes a goal. So that's someone coming from a different website to my website and becoming a conversion point. And you have email marketing. Email marketing, pretty straightforward, simple. These are ancillary email blasts. There's a lot of tricks to that trade. I'll get into some of that towards the end of this presentation. Now, there are platforms, other channels. Going to get into, these are the main ones, where we should start. So we're starting here. All right, now we have important metrics, and I probably blurted out a lot of these words already. But you have sessions and users, okay? These are people going to the website as a user, and then how many times did I go to the website, sessions as a user. New and returning visitors, pretty obvious. I'm a new visitor versus I'm a repeat visitor. What's my bounce rate? How do I quickly X out of the site and the information isn't relevant? Did the page not load fast enough so I X'd out? Some of this stuff could be discovered in user experience. We'll get into that as well. Average page load time works hand in hand with bounce rate. Maybe my bounce rate's higher because it takes 26 seconds for my site to load on a mobile device. Well, I'm probably going to lose a consumer because everyone's pretty antsy nowadays. So you have to make sure you have a fast site. Also with Google, when you're thinking about SEO, that's important too. Organic versus paid sessions. Pretty straightforward. We've already discussed this. Organic is people coming organically through searching through various keywords. Again, I use the term digital marketing for me, but let's say I'm a local handyman and I Google that, or emergency plumber, who pops up first, right? You could show up organically where you're not paying to play. You're not giving Google money. However, you got to work at that. That's a lot of grunt work from an SEO standpoint. You don't just inherently rank 1, 2, or 3 or on the first page of Google, right? You got to do a lot of your legwork there. Then from a paid standpoint, you have your paid position, which you're paying to play to show up 1, 2, or 3. Now, if you're putting money there and you're not showing up 1, 2, or 3, there are a lot of things that could be. Maybe your ad relevancy score is low. Maybe you have a lot of target competition who's just clearly outspending you and you're showing up at the bottom of the page, or you're getting 1 or 2 clicks and then you're leaving. So things to look at with your ads. Top landing pages. These are where users are coming to on the site. What are the top pages, whether it be by ad, whether it be organically, where people are going. Now, if you see that your top landing page is the about page or the team page, which I find a lot of companies who haphazardly aren't ranked trying to do an SEO strategy, but rank for something, a lot of times it will come in the about page or the team page. And why do we think that is? It's because it's probably the most content on that page. People love talking about themselves. So they'll rank for a random team member that hasn't been with the company for 10 years, and they'll rank number 1 for that. You gotta keep an eye on that. All right. Now, digital marketing always starts with a great website. Now, we have a lot of things we've talked about already: SEO, social media, data points, content marketing. But it's always going to start with your website. Think of your website as your storefront here, right? You want to put your best brand foot forward with your website. You want to make sure you're indexable, meaning Google, Bing, they could crawl your site and they could understand what you're ranking for. Remember, these search engines are what we call SERPs. They're looking at your site and they're reading it like a textbook, essentially. They're looking at your navigation. You're looking at your index files. They're trying to see, okay, this is what it's about. That's your table of contents. Then it's going to start to crawl into the site and read the book, okay? And as it reads the book, it's going to start to grasp and understand what the site is about, and it's going to inherently rank you accordingly. There's a lot of, again, I'm going to keep saying there's a lot of tricks to that trade. This isn't an SEO conversation per se, but doing your due diligence there to have a proper website with your proper CTA points. And what do I mean by that? Think of hierarchy. So what's the most important thing this website is about? That should be all the way up top, front and center. Why am I here? What's the reason to buy? Okay, that's what we call your hero image, the top of the website with that pretty picture with a click-through button to convert. Then you need to be thinking about conversions all the time. right? Very similar to if you're at the supermarket, they put all these things in the aisle as you're checking out for you to quickly grab and buy. It's done intentionally for reasons, so you could put last minute things in your cart. Think about your website like you would think about experience shopping or going to a store. Okay. All right. Now we have two different types of websites, generally speaking. You have a lead generation site and an e-commerce site. E-commerce site, pretty straightforward, right? People go on there to buy stuff. Things you want to think about with an e-commerce site are your conversion rate, how many customers are visiting and then turning into customers, how many users are visiting, then turning into customers, excuse me. Shopping cart abandonment rate, so how many people are going and then Xing out. I'm finding people don't even want to put their credit card information in anymore, not because they're worried about security, but because they're lazy. So having it stored with, Apple Pay or a Google Keychain, quick checkouts. Shop Pay is now doing a thing with Shopify. Being able to quickly put your information in one step checkout is becoming more the thing nowadays. And people will bounce off if they have to put their first and last name and then they spell it wrong, etc. Average order value, your AOV. So, what's the average value of an order placed on my website? That might help you to say, okay, well, my average order value has shrunk by 20% year over year. Why is that? Maybe the cost of shipping went up. Maybe there's outlying circumstances, but maybe there's not. Customer lifetime value, your CLV. So, how much is a customer lifetime value going to spend on my site? Then you'll know lifetime value, how much you could actually spend in remarketing or retargeting ads that follow you all around the internet, or email marketing, which could be a retriggering event. How much should I spend on that? Right? Social media. Does it make sense to hire a team for social media marketing if my average lifetime value is pretty low for a customer? I have a everlasting product that no one's ever going to purchase again. Maybe I don't. Maybe I have something that's disposable like shampoo, and every month they're going to need more. So I need to keep reminding them why they need to buy. Surviving long sales cycles. Lead generation sites. You have form submissions. Okay, and these are the more. If I'm looking at the two to the left in the blue is trickier. Okay, a lot of the clientele I deal with, they have very unique and difficult problems that require very unique solutions, right? Because of that, you have to start to really diagnose this and look at it like a game of chess. Where can I put my chess pieces, so to speak? If I'm selling shirts and hats, that's relatively easy, right? I'm selling a lifestyle, I'm selling the dream. Who am I selling it to? It's the consumer. There's a lot of consumers, but I'm looking for a very unique decision maker in a very niche industry. That starts to get pretty tricky, right? And that's typically your lead generation sites. So form submissions, clicks and calls, sessions, and then cost per lead. Those are things that I'm looking at. With lead generation site, I might have several different goals, as I call them, or conversion points, and I'm going to weight them. If I'm an emergency response plumber, phone number is number one. I want people to call me. No one's going to fill out a form because their toilet's backing up, and then they're going to wait for me to get in touch with them. It's not going to happen. They're going to want me right now. So that's a phone call. So that's most important. So that has to be proper and first and foremost on my website. Then I could think about form submission for maybe new bathrooms or new installation. And then lastly, I could think about other things that I might want to put on my site as conversion point, like the chat bot, which we talked about last week. All right, now CRM. This is your customer retention marketing tool. So your CRM is really your hub there. Everyone who has a website and is looking for is trying to convert customers into sales really should have some type of CRM. They get pretty grand. You could spend thousands and thousands of dollars to execute a custom play, or you could get something off the shelf that's relatively streamlined, straightforward. There's a lot of them out there, and there's a lot of them that are streamlined to your specific need. If you're a gym, there's Mind Body, and there's a lot out there. Okay. Now, what is a CRM system? Now, what this typically does is you have your software and your tracking in there. It gives you custom metrics in your dashboard. And then you have some marketing personalization typically in there. Your CRM might not have everything. It might not have text automation, which some might work in some applications for your customer life cycle. It might not have email marketing. And again, there's off-the-shelf solutions for all of that. When we talk about tracking, I love to track in two different places if possible. I trust the CRM typically to get the first touch, and I trust it to get what I call either a big dog board or your set, show, close opportunity for anyone that's a sales nut. How many people showed up, how many appointments did I set, how many people showed up to set appointment, and then how many of those did I close? And you can start to bridge the gap there. And that's really what I consider a CRM to do, to understand my sales team, how they're performing. Are they performing proper? Are they underperforming? What's my set show close appointment rate, right? If I had 100 appointments that I set, but I only closed two of them, and I got a 2% show rate or conversion rate, that's not great for me as a salesperson, right? So that helps me understand my sales team and the dynamic of them. But then when I start to think about other things like the website, how is the website performing? Because that should be your number one appointment setting device, right? When I think about that, I think about Google Analytics. So going back to SEO setup, one time setup stuff for SEO, SEM. Think about Google Analytics. That's the end all, the be all for me anyway, in terms of tracking, right? I'll know how many users came to the site. A lot of those KPIs, key performance indicators I previously talked about, those are going to be vital in understanding and looking at my Google Analytics metrics. And you don't want to do any of the stuff I talked about or I'm about to talk about, from email marketing, pay per click, SEO. Don't do any of it. Don't even bother if you're not going to have Google Analytics set up and understand and be able to interpret those analytics, right? Otherwise, again, you're just going to spend money willy nilly on things and not understand. And that's what I love about digital marketing, is that I don't have to kind of blast and pray, right? I don't have to just dump money in random buckets, give the clipper a whole bunch of money, right? And then, oh, okay, yeah, 50,000 pieces. Yeah, that's true. Wink, wink. I don't have to do that anymore. I could say I spent $1,000, 20,000 people went to my website, 1,000 people converted. I have all those metrics, and then I understand where it came from. Oh, it came from that one ad that I did that I spent that money on. Oh, it came from my SEO efforts. Oh, it came from this. When it came from that specific keyword that people are searching for, we get very granular with stuff. So because of that, Google Analytics end all the be all, and that's why we love digital marketing. All right, but how? Now, how do I survive long sales cycles? You're asking. I had to get through all that jargon first and foremost, and everything in marketing, especially digital marketing, is an acronym. So forgive me on that, but that's the way of the land these days. But how to survive long sales cycles. Now, I've alluded to a little of this already, but let's start and talk about funnel marketing, right? When you think about marketing, you think of it like, okay, I got this, I got that. I'm going to spend money here and there. And I use the example of as a chess board game, right? But you could also think of it as a funnel, right? A potential prospect will enter the funnel at the top of the funnel. Now I need to make them aware, so to speak, of who I am. They might not know me. They might not be super familiar with my brand, or they might be familiar with my brand, but they don't necessarily know exactly what I do and what I'm about, or what my RTB is, what my reason to buy is, right? Why am I better than the competitor? Why should you purchase from me? Maybe I'm the cheapest guy in the block. Maybe I'm the most expensive, but I'm the best. So your branding needs to speak to that. Again, if you were the most expensive but the best, you should feel a little white glove treatment, right? Some of your branding and attributes, the way you speak to a customer, should be geared that way, so you inherently get a certain target audience. Now, the same is true if you're kind of lower end market, right? You should be speaking that direction too. And as you do that, you make them aware of who you are in your language, both visually with your imagery and branding. All your branding should be consistent throughout. Not a branding conversation, but I don't want to see 4 different typefaces on something. I don't want to see type outlined. I don't want to see colors gyrating at me on the digital landscape. Okay, I don't want you to do the typical art direction thing where you print out an email and try to correct it. Don't do that stuff. Okay, have a proper brand and understand where to go professionally with that brand. If you're in a professional business, that should be professional first and foremost, right? Like me not doing my hair and then going to a job interview. Don't do that. All right. Anyway, back to this. So you want to, when they enter the funnel, you want to make them aware. Make them aware of who you are, what you're about, why buy. A lot of that stuff could be done with first touch things, right? We're having a webinar. We're doing special blog posts on various websites, including our own. We're working on SEO, right? Because people are entering the funnel through SEO. I'm searching for an emergency response plumber. Frankie's Plumbing showed up first organically. Okay. I was working on ranking for that key term, so I showed up. That's top of funnel because they didn't know me. Now they're entering a landing page through my website. I need to make sure that that landing page speaks to who I am, what I'm about, and why buy. And as I said, it needs to have a conversion point. What was the conversion point we talked about? The phone number. That needs to be first and foremost on a website. 9 times out of 10, I go look at and audit websites. There's no conversion point anywhere near the site, maybe at the bottom. Come on. So it needs to be proper and first and foremost on the website, right? Top of funnel stuff. Then we get to the middle of the funnel. Okay. This is where we start to spend money and have fun. Okay. Email marketing, various offers, and I'm going to get into strategies for email marketing momentarily. We start to develop white papers and case studies and things of that nature. We get more nitty gritty with social media, right? Maybe now we could start to run special advertisements to them, or maybe in social media, I have my marketing calendar, my monthly social media allocation, right? That's already automated. Not a social media conversation, but if you're a business that's spending too much time on social media, get off of it. Be a business that's in business. Find someone to help you with that social media. The social media portion of it, you should really be looking at it as a retention and informational tool. Here, when I'm thinking middle of the funnel, it's informational. Retention, I'm thinking about it long term. Okay, my customer already knows me. I'm having a special or a sale. I'm a fitness facility. You go to my gym. I put up my group fitness schedule, that kind of stuff. If I am shopping around, which 9 out of 10 customers are now doing, I'm finding that if I have brands that have multiple brands within their industry, right? And we'll have 2 different websites with 2 different brands. I'm finding I'm getting the same person converting on both websites now a lot of times. And that's because they're shopping around and they don't understand that the brand has an umbrella parent company. But I'm seeing that a lot nowadays where I never used to see that in the past. So you need to make sure you're everywhere and you're explaining to the consumer who you are and why buy. The bottom of the funnel. This is right before they convert, right? They're going down the funnel. We're trimming down the what we're doing here. The bottom of the funnel is what we turn a hot lead or prospect into a conversion or a sale. Okay. And that's when we start to think about customer testimonials, retargeting or remarketing ads. Again, those are the ones that follow you around everywhere. Product reviews and pushing them in their face, pushing demos, things of that nature. Okay, that's when we start to squeeze that funnel to get them to buy. Okay, and if they didn't buy at that point, we've sent them a retargeting ad, we sent them a remarketing email. Then we need to think about what's called a LBO or a low barrier offer. That's when we say, okay, you didn't convert within X time, save 20%. Okay. Consumers are very smart nowadays. They know that if they fill out your form, they're going to save 20% and still convert instantly, right? They're just doing it. They're going to coupons.com and looking for a coupon code and they think they won, and that's great. I love it. We're tricking them a lot of times in that regard. But you don't need to give them that low barrier offer right away, right? Let go on a couple dates first before we start to kiss. Let's first do a couple of other things. Try to get them to understand who you are as a brand before you give them a special promotion or discount. Okay. And if you're a lead generation or lead form, a little bit different. You just need to be informational on what you do and how your transaction process works. And again, the why buy. The why is probably more important now than it has been ever before. And placing urgency on that why is very important. Okay. A lot of people, again, you want to buy a TV. I wanted to buy a TV in April. I'm going to wait till the end of November to buy a TV. It's crazy the way our sales cycle works nowadays. I have a lot of brands that make all their money, all of it. They go green or they go black in November and December. The rest of the year it's red. So again, and they spend that entire year trying to acquire a customer base to remarket and retarget to towards the end of the year. Okay. So you could build that base over the course of the year. All right. Now, the digital marketing mix. I want to go over this a minute too. Okay. So you have different types here. You have what's paid. Okay. These are I'm paying to acquire a customer. Okay. Now I'm paying for them. Either maybe I acquired an email marketing list, which is very taboo. But if you're a B2B, there's a way to happen. It happen. If you're a B2C, I don't want to hear about it. But okay. So paid again. Most of the time it's ads, paid ads, right? Social media, influencer marketing, whatever I'm throwing money at. Even SEO is definitely a paid thing. I think it's more earned, but a lot of times you're paying top tier companies to produce some of this work. So paid, okay, that's part of your mix. Owned, Okay. What's your own stuff? You own your website. You own all of your profiles and all your platforms, Yelp, etc. Google My Business profile, email marketing, that's owned. Social media page, the page is owned, the platform is owned. Okay. So what do you have that's owned there? And then earned marketing. Okay. This is stuff that I'm doing grunt work for. And as I said, SEO can be earned. Yes, because you spend a lot of time in the trenches doing the work. I don't just inherently rank number one for emergency response plumber. Can you imagine how hard that is? Um, but because of that, it can be earned. Okay. Now you have reviews. You earn those reviews. Getting media coverage, PR stuff. There's a lot of things you can do in PR to get a lot of PR links, guest posts, mentions, social media stuff, and then free influencers. Or maybe I'm just working a network out and giving them free product, right? That's earned. Okay. So the mix of this should be kind of all put together in a stew, all three of them together to combine the proper marketing strategy. All right. Now, lead nurturing leads. Okay. This is a big topic here in this conversation. Okay. Because we're not talking about marketing as a whole. Some of you guys might be a little more savvy than others, but what we're talking about here is nurturing a lead to close a sale, right? So, thinking about a couple things that we could potentially do here to close a sale. Think about your social media channel, what you're doing right now. We have organic posts, right? Our organic posts should kind of push people to the site. But good old Mark Zuckerberg, he does a great job at keeping people on Facebook, keeping people on the Instagram app, right? Even the shopping experience now is starting to happen solely on those apps, okay? Whereas he's penalizing, wink, wink, people for not doing that as such, clicking through to go to the website where the ads are showing behind other ads that have the API integration that happen directly on the site. But I do have clients who don't want to do that on site for various reasons. They want all that interaction to happen on a website. And as a marketer, I want that to happen there too. So I gain all the important information and I get the end user on my site. So they're following my brand experience, not Mark Zuckerberg's. But with that being said, though, that's the lay of the land nowadays. There are types of sites that we have that do not have API integration for Facebook Meta yet. There used to be the pixel where you dropped a pixel. A lot of that's changing, going the way of the dinosaur. But monitoring that, as I'm having this conversation with you guys, I'm sure it's changing. But you have organic posts here. Your organic post, you put your best brand foot forward. Then you have your shopping. Sorry, you have your ad, your typical ad. Okay, the ad should give you a little more information. It should be a little more brand focused, brand foot forward. And you should either here they're downloading a flash sale checklist for Shopify, right? For you, if you wanted to do a white paper download, that's something you could do where you kind of trick and you get into the consumer's hands without actually getting them off of Meta. The other thing you could do is, again, you could get them to go to your website, but you have to watch that conversion rate because that conversion rate might not be as good because your ad might not get shown ahead of your competitors because of the integration stuff. So again, a lot of tricks to the trade here, but showing organic post alongside an ad, and then you have your retriggering and retargeting ads that could show up there as well. I used the lawnmower earlier as an example, but this could literally be anything, and you got to consider the time of day in which you're showing an ad. I told you about Bing Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. You have someone sitting in the seat there working, right? A lot of I'm an Apple Mac guy, but most of the business world is still Microsoft. So their default browser might be Bing. With that being said, showing an ad on some of those platforms might work better for you too. You get a cheaper cost per click, you get a better return on investment, and you find the quality of leads are better. Again, and knowing that and understanding that math should be relatively easy to you if you've kind of been through the SBDC system and you understand how much you could spend to acquire a customer based on your margins. Then you'll be able to know if you could afford a certain CPC versus another, right? How many people clicked on my site, cost per click? How many people converted from that? Just because I spent 50 cents a click doesn't mean I spent 50 cents a conversion, if you follow. Okay. You have to understand how that math works. If I need 100 clicks, right, at 50 cents, so it costs me $50 there to get one conversion, does that math check out for me? If I'm selling hats for $9.99, no, it does not work for me. But if I'm a consultant where every single conversion, let's say I'm a lawyer, and my average consultation is about $5,000, right, per client. Makes sense to me to acquire one client for $50, right? So you have to understand how that works from a business standpoint. I've done plenty of separate presentations on that. If you have any questions, I'll drop my email address in after. Happy to chat with you about what that looks like from a budgetary standpoint. But here, again, a lot of retargeting, retriggering ads might do the trick for you if you have a lot of fence sitter clients. As I said, yeah, Google remarketing, retargeting ads. Do I have an example? Yeah. So the way it kind of works is you have a prospect who visits your site. They're essentially good old delicious cookies. Not going to get into the technology there, but they're gonna track the prospect throughout the site, and then when they leave your site, your ads are now going to show up. Now, you need enough users who have visited your website in X given time in order for a retargeting position to be triggerable. I can't just pop up a website and then trigger a retargeting ad. Again, you need to be running ads, and Google or Bing, depending where you're running ads, need to have enough time to understand who's visiting the website, how many people are visiting the website, and again, who that person is. And then they can start to remarket those people, right, on various websites that are visited throughout the customer's life journey. Okay. And again, that might be the time you drop your RTB or your low barrier offer, right? My cheapest possible offer then gets dropped because it's retargeting. Someone's already visited the site and they said, I don't know. So then I'm saying, okay, now please save 20%, buy now, right? All right, email marketing. Email marketing is one of my favorite tools here when we're talking about nurture, because I could really define an email marketing strategy very granularly. So thinking about this, and this is when your CRM comes to play. Again, you could just have a one-off email client like Constant Contacts, MailChimp, or whatever. But you could have a robust CRM that has this as well, right? I know Keep is a good one, where you have a full dedicated nurture system depending on what the customer does in the customer journey. Okay. I have an ad and I have a retargeting ad. Depending on who you are, I'm showing you a specific ad. Okay. You're clicking on that, and then you go to a thank you page after you fill out a form. I know my life cycle is long here, right? So let's pretend I'm buying a car. Am I buying a car? Am I buying a truck? Or am I buying an EV? Okay. Those are three separate landing pages or three separate ads that you could go to. Let's say I'm going to the EV one. I click, I fill out a form. I'm not going to buy right away. I'm going to shop around. I'm going to shop around like hell. Okay. Especially being given the interest rates where they're at now. A lot of people are waiting in the wings. Okay. So because of that, I'm shopping around. I'm trying to get the most information possible. And I might not end up buying at my dealership, right? I might buy at a different one. Maybe I could start to send them emails, right? They filled out the form about interest in EV, and I know they're interested in EVs. So I could get a bunch of emails together in a nurture sequence. So day one, they get a thank you for your interest. Here's some more information about blah, blah, blah. Day four, they get introduction to a salesperson. Day 10, they get information about why the miles per gallon or is cheaper than I don't own an EV, but the range is better than the miles per gallon. Then they get another reason to buy, and another one, and then they get an offer, and then if they didn't close, they get another one, and then a retargeting ad pops up somewhere, and then that triggers to a different landing page to get them to convert. And I'm tracking them all throughout this entire life cycle to figure out where in the journey they've converted or closed. Okay. Now the same is true. I gave you the other two examples as the car or the what I say sedan or a truck. Let's say those two. Those journeys feel different, right? Because those are two different users. Maybe the truck is somebody who's in a construction trade, so I want to speak differently to them. And then maybe the car is a family of four, so I want to speak different to them. So every single piece of this user journey is different, right? It's not all the same stuff. And you want to make it interesting enough that people are engaging and interacting with your stuff. And you'll start to see, because of metrics, because you have everything laid out, you have proper analytics in place, you'll start to see where users drop off. Well, email 3, they're not really engaging with, and by that, I've lost them. Okay, so that's when in email 3 or email 2, right before email 3, you need to place your low barrier offer, because after that, you're starting to lose people. Okay, maybe you didn't get anyone to close during your low barrier offer, but you re-engage their interest because now there's a sale. Now you got their attention again, and you got to do a little more work to get them to close. Okay. What I'm suggesting here is more work needs to be done than ever before to get a user that converts, someone to close, the cash register, the ring, than ever before. Okay. All right. And then you need a lot of time here to follow up. Okay. That's most important. No one's ever allowing for any time anymore with anything, anything in life. You think about it, everyone wants instant gratification like never before. Okay. I don't want to wait for the grass to grow. I don't want my relationship with X to mature. I want to lose 20 pounds tomorrow. I don't want to wait 4 weeks. The same is true with advertising, I find. Everyone wants to instantly rank number one in Google, which if you ever see those little signs on the road, what is egress or whatever, it's snake oil. Don't buy it. That's not what it is. It takes a lot of work and a lot of patience in order to be able to outrank your competition number one. I can't just pop up a website tomorrow and rank number one for emergency response plumbing organically when there's been competitors in business for over 20 years with websites as old as the dawn of the internet. Just it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of due diligence. It can happen. I've done it plenty of times, but it's going to take some time. When you're talking about ads, it's going to take a little time and a little bit of an investment to start to get people to convert. It's going to happen, but it's going to take a little bit of time and investment to get those ads right. We have to run A/B testing, which is when you have the same, let's say, image, but the messaging is different, or the landing page, or something different in that dynamic, so I can measure and determine which one is the best approach. Maybe I'm sending it out to two different audiences, or my keyword metrics are different. I don't know. Whatever it might be. You're going to have to measure that and find out what is the best path of conversion. A lot of these people that have been doing it well for a long time. So for you to show up to the party, it's going to take a little bit of time. Okay. The same is true with email lists, acquiring a nurture list, an audience. That takes time as well. Developing your email strategy that I showed you, that crazy sequence, that chain, that takes time to get right. Okay. But all this stuff can happen. All right. All right.